The two seasons that I most want to get my life together are the new year and then the fall. And this fall especially, I am just really leaning in to that feeling of like getting things organized, but also leaning into the cozy side. And today's episode is going to just be a blend of those two things, mixing the let's get our life together, let's set some goals, let's move forward, but then also how are we leaning into the cozy and the fun and just anticipating kind of the end of 2024, making the most of all of our days. We're going to chat about it all today. Hello and welcome back, or welcome for the first time, to Hot Mess Habits. My name is Victoria Harder. I'm a mom, a wife, a photographer, a content creator, and overall just a type B girly who is trying to get her life together and make the most of all of her days. I am truly blown away with how much support I've gotten so far. I did think that I would get a little bit of initial people listening to the first episode, but I feel like to everything that I've put out so far, it's had such a positive response. And so I'm just so grateful for all of you for listening or watching here on YouTube. So for the month of October, at the end of the month of October, I'll be doing a little giveaway draw for 2 people who leave me a rating and review. So if you do that, I think I can see on Apple the username, so I will read the username out when I do the giveaway winner. But if you are leaving me one on Spotify, I don't think I can see it. So just feel free to screenshot it and send it to me on the Hot Mess Habits Instagram, which is just at Hot Mess Habits. Give us a follow on there while you're at it. Today's episode, we're going to chat first about kind of goal setting, more serious, okay, how are we going to end 2024 well? We're going to just chat about that, setting intention for the fall, our fall goals, dreams. We're going to assess 4 different areas of our life. And then at the end of the episode, I'm going to just chat more about my fun fall bucket list ideas, as well as some movie, TV recommendations, all of that more fun lifestyle stuff, because I do want to mix some of that in here. I know that a lot of what I've talked about so far has been very much productivity focused, goals focused. And I want to make sure that I'm blending in a little bit of my personal fun things as well, because that's definitely part of who I am. If there's one thing that I will influence you to do, it is to buy a printer. I feel like I will never stop talking about this. First of all, I just think that we forget how convenient it is to have a printer. If you have an idea, you can literally create it on your computer and then print it out, and it's just physical, tangible in front of you. And I just think that because there's so few things that are physical these days, it just brings me joy. I feel like I look at screens so much that just having a printer just brings me undescribable joy. And as you have probably already noticed, I mention printing things out, having visual reminders a lot. So this is just your sign to get a printer, or alternatively, you can also connect yourself with a local print shop. That was one of my early jobs, was working at a print shop, and I loved that job. Doing that was just so much fun. So that is also an option. Try to find a local place that does photocopying and printing, and then you can just bring things there and they will print it out for you. Usually it's pretty cheap. You can also go to somewhere like Staples or something, Staples or a store like that, but I like to support the small local shops if you can. The reason I'm referencing having a printer for this is because when it comes to a new season, I like to sit down and write out goals for myself for the season, as well as make a little mini vision board, and I will print that out and have it somewhere where I can easily look at it. You do not need a printer for this. I do have my template linked if you want to use it. It's in my shop. If you do not, you can also just take a piece of paper and write things down. You do not need to do the fancy thing with Canva. I just personally like that. It just makes me feel happy. Okay. So I will, on this sheet of paper, it's just a very simple, one piece of paper. I like to break down my goals for the upcoming season into 4 different categories. They are wellness, work, health, and hobbies and fun. Hobbies and fun is one category. So these right now are just the categories that feel the most natural and prominent to me. if you want to change these categories, you go for it. But this is what is working the best for me. So if you are watching this is what my sheet looks like. This is my one from the summer. It's just like quite simple, one piece of paper, and I just write all the stuff out on here. So as I sit down and I look at the upcoming season, I like to make a little like statement of kind of like my mission for the next season, my vision for the next season. Sometimes this is just like the same thing kind of each season because I feel like things don't change too much. So I'll read you mine from the summer. I feel like it's pretty similar to what I would do now. Maybe I would tweak it a little bit to be more like indoor focused, but this is what I have to say for the summer. Make the most of every day, show up for myself and my family, and steward everything that we have. Enjoy where we live, embrace the chaos without giving up the habits, and document all of it. So that was my little goal for the summer. So that was like at the top of my my little vision board here. And then I broke down my different categories. I think it's important to start out with a why or a vision, because having some like reason behind what you're doing, a vision behind what you're doing beyond just like, oh yeah, this sounds like a good idea, I feel like helps just give you some guidance and direction in terms of just like not just copying other people's goals and habits and routines just for like the sake of doing them, picking goals and habits and things to work on because they matter to you and they're important to like the life that you want to live, rather than just copying someone else's. That's also going to give you a lot more motivation to complete those goals if there's like a reason behind doing them beyond just because it sounds like a good idea. So that's how I like to start, is just sitting down and writing out that kind of like initial statement and vision for the next season. Then we'll break it down into those categories that I talked about. So again, my categories that I've chosen are wellness, work, health, hobbies, and fun. One thing that I talk about a lot is kind of giving yourself different options rather than really rigid one size fits all type of thing. So for each of these categories, I kind of give myself a few different things that I want to work on. I know that in the standard, like I feel like goal setting practice and productivity practice, people say like focus on one thing at one time. Like don't try to focus on many things when it comes to goal setting, when it comes to your vision, etc. In the season that I'm at, I feel like I am working on multiple things at the same time. It's kind of impossible for me not to. You know, work is one of my categories because I need to work. But then also one of my categories is hobbies. So it's not like I'm just going to focus on work goals and I'm not just going to focus on hobbies goals. And then within those things, I like to be able to try out kind of different things and figure out what works and what sticks. So for some of these categories, I have like multiple things written down. And this is something that you could try as like, you know, in the wellness category, writing down a list of like 10 different things that you want to try and work on. And maybe some of those really stick and you do really well with, and some of them you don't even, you end up not really being drawn to them. And I feel like the way that this can actually work really well is when you go through the month, you go through the next season, and you get to the end of the fall, and then you look back at the things that you set and say, oh, actually, I ended up not doing any of those things, and I actually don't think they're as important to me as maybe I thought they were initially. But I don't think there's any issue or any like shame in like writing down many things that you want to try. And then, maybe some of them stick and maybe some of them don't. So we're going to start out with wellness. And so wellness, I feel like is like a very large category of different things. Like I feel like we don't need to explain what wellness is, but let it be whatever it means to you. This is for me in the season what I'm working on for wellness. So the first one is having my phone in my office at night. So I used to be good at this, where I would keep my phone in a separate room than where we slept. And I honestly do think that that is one of those things that like actually works and is actually like very beneficial, because you're not scrolling at night, you're not scrolling in the morning, you're not tempted to like look at your email first thing in the morning. There's many reasons why it's a good idea. But since I've had my son, I just haven't been doing it as much, because I like to have my phone to check what time it is, and I like to be able to, there's all these reasons. I like to be able to use my app to track when I'm breastfeeding, all the things. At the stage of motherhood that I'm at, though, I feel like I can put my phone away and it's like I can get through the night. Like I don't need to be on my phone. That's one of my things. Another thing is reading my Kindle before bed. This one is something that I've already started doing. It's already kind of become a pretty good habit, but I wanted to put this on just to continue it. So that's one thing that I'm replacing scrolling my phone with, is having my Kindle, making sure that it's charged, making sure there's books on it. And I've been actually really enjoying that routine. It helps me fall asleep so much better than when I scroll on my phone. A new thing that I've started is I got one of those 1 line a day books. I don't know if you've seen them, but the concept is basically it's a journal, but there's just like one kind of little section for each day for 5 years. So it's like you have the journal for 5 years, you write one small little tidbit in it every single day. I just got that and it has been so helpful because I'm someone who really likes to journal. I used to be a big journaler and I was feeling kind of guilty about the fact that like I have barely journaled since basically I got pregnant. So I feel like there's this kind of like blip in time where I like don't really know what I've been thinking. I feel like I did a bad job of like memory keeping the early years or the early months of, you know, being pregnant and then the early time of like having a newborn. And what I am trying to do very actively is say, you know what? It's okay that I haven't done that. It's okay that I like didn't journal during that time. And instead, like I've tried to kind of get back into it, but it's not been happening because I just feel like there's just so much to say. And then I just like get tired and, you know, but this has been a really nice way to ease back into doing some of that journaling because it's so low pressure. So I just write like one memory from the day. So it's just like one line again, like what the book is called, one line a day. So I just can write one thing down and it just makes me feel like, okay, I did a little bit of memory keeping. I did a little bit of like reflecting on my day. What was a cute moment? What was a fun memory? Write that down and it makes me feel very accomplished and just gives me also, I just think that writing something pen to paper, you know, rather than just like typing something on my phone just feels so nice. So that has been very helpful. The second thing is journaling when I can. I do want to try to journal more. I do think that when I write out my thoughts, it really helps me process things. So that's something that I do want to work on, but we'll see. We'll see how that goes. Fresh air daily. This is the season when I forget to go outside. Not fully. I do think that having a baby has helped because he wants to go to the park or like we'll go on a walk most days, but just remind myself how good being outside is and like forcing myself to do it even if I feel like, oh, I'd rather stay cozy inside. This is also a good reminder, this I should be on here, is to start taking vitamin D again. This is the season where, you know, the sun is going to start not showing up as much and I need that vitamin D. So this is your reminder. If you are someone who needs vitamin D, start taking it now. Another thing in wellness is scheduling everything showers. So I love a good everything shower. If you are not on TikTok or don't know what an everything shower is, it is basically like, this is what my perception of it is. Basically, you take a whole evening and you say it's an everything shower night and you use all of your good products. You do the full routine of like literally every type of like beauty wellness thing that you need to do. So like these are the days when I will make all the lighting in my bathroom dim. I'll make myself my favorite drink, maybe a little snack. I will light candles in my bathroom and then I will do like my full face care routine. I will do my like teeth whitening, my eyebrows. I will then have a shower, use all my nice like scrubs, shave, all of the things, do like a deep conditioning mask in my hair. Basically like all the possible things you can do all in one. Then I'll get out of the shower. I'll make sure I put lotion on, just make it like a whole experience. And I do think that this is one of those things that actually is like, obviously doesn't cost, like, sure, it costs money in the product sense, but it's not like you're paying to go to a spa or anything. But I do think it's like feels very rewarding. And then there's nothing better than like having an everything shower and then like crawling into bed and like scrolling on Pinterest, reading your Kindle, or just like being in like warm, fresh sheets. That is my idea of a perfect night. But that's one of those things that I can easily just like kind of put off or like be like, whatever, it's like too much work. But when I do it, I feel so good. So that's something in my wellness category that I want to make sure that I'm still doing. I also want to note that like if you like, I do shower regularly. This isn't just like, oh, I want to shower. It's like I specifically want to have an everything shower, but if you get it, you get it. For the work category, I'm just going to share my 2 things that I'm working on that are like the most relevant. I feel like work is like very specific and I could talk about like 20 different things that I'm like working on for work, but these are like work as a whole that I'm working on. So scheduling my week in advance, ideally on Sundays. So I have a lot of freedom with how I'm spending my work hours and everything. So I want to make sure that when I'm using work time, it is the most efficient possible. And the only way that I can do that is by like planning it out in advance and not just like sitting down on Monday morning and being like, okay, like, what am I going to do today? So making sure that I'm being intentional with scheduling things out and also scheduling my content on Sundays. So I'm trying to be more intentional with my content creation, making sure my podcast is going out, and then also making sure that I'm like sharing clips from the podcast and little things like that. So just making sure on Sundays I'm scheduling things out in advance, not just like flying by the seat of my pants every single Monday morning. And then along with that is doing 10 minutes of emails daily. I can be notorious for just kind of like not responding to my emails, as some people know. So just making sure that each morning I'm just spending 10 minutes daily. Obviously, sometimes it takes more time than that, but even if I can go in and just respond to a couple first thing, that can really just like help me maintain sanity, and not quite inbox 0, but inbox maybe like 50 instead of 200. So again, that's like a short little category for work, just because that's what I don't have a huge broad focus for work right now. They're more like specific smaller things. Okay, moving on to health. I don't think went to the gym. We didn't go to the gym all of July and August. So we've just been getting back into going. It has been really good to go back. It's been a little bit tricky because our son does not like the childcare as much as he used to. So we're easing him back into that. Hopefully that starts going a little bit better, but we've been trying to go 3 times a week, and I want to continue with that. So doing 3 times a week strength training, and then my other movement goal would be doing like one kind of cardio based activity. So either doing like a swim, a run, or a hike once a week. So I want to be tracking my macros, specifically tracking how much protein I'm eating each day and making sure that I'm getting enough of that, because I'm always surprised at how little, not like how little, but just like how I think that I'm always getting more than I actually am. One thing I used to be really bad at was eating breakfast. I don't think I really ate breakfast in high school, and then I just always, then because of that, I developed this like, I didn't feel like I was hungry. Anyways, that's a whole tangent about breakfast, but I'm very good at making sure that I eat breakfast before I drink coffee now, because when I was drinking coffee first thing in the morning on an empty stomach, it was making me so anxious. So now I always have my breakfast, then I have my coffee. But one addition that I need to make to this routine is making sure I have water before coffee. So like breakfast, water, coffee needs to be the routine, the like the timeline. Or maybe like water, breakfast, coffee, but the water needs to somehow come before the coffee, because I've just been noticing lately, I'm like, okay, I think that I'm a little bit dehydrated and I want to make sure that I'm a little bit more hydrated. I did just get a new lid for my Stanley, one of the like leak proof ones rather than the like just plain ones that come with the Stanley. And I will say that it is a game changer. It has been helping so far, because before I feel like my water bottle was very top heavy, and then Theodore kept knocking it over and then the water would spill, so I just felt like I wasn't using it as much. And now that I've got that, it's been so good. I also feel like this lid has helped me keep my ice cooler, and I love an ice water, so that also helps me drink water. So all the little things that we're working on. Before the summer, I was trying to go for massages, because I work for my computer so much, I find that my shoulders get really tight, and then sometimes I can get tension headaches from it. So I want to make sure that I'm, first of all, having better posture when I'm looking at my computer, but second of all, just going back for more regular massages and also making sure that I'm stretching throughout my workday. So those are the health goals. Moving on to more of the fun category, so hobbies and fun. So seeing a friend once a week minimum. I have this written down because sometimes I can get very laser focused on like work and just like my own little bubble and just like being at home, that I will kind of forget like, oh yeah, I should probably see a friend. And then I see a friend and I'm like, oh my gosh, I forgot like how amazing it is to see people. I need to see people more. Seeing people really helps me get out of my own head. And so I have to write it down and tell myself, you need to see a friend at least once a week. I would love to see a friend even more than once a week, but my minimum is once. The next goal is to have my craft supplies a little bit more easily accessible. 'Tis the season for crafting and cozy girl hobbies. So the way that you're going to do these is by making sure that they are easily accessible. You have supplies, you have things that are accessible. So in this office space that I have, my little studio here, I do have craft supplies in my closet, but I want to make sure, like, make some way where I can more easily like have access to them so that I can use them more frequently, because as the winter, sorry, not going to say winter yet, as the fall and winter comes, I love to do a cozy hobby, maybe get back into doing like scrapbooking, junk journaling. We'll see if I attempt like knitting and crocheting again. I tried last year and just like got frustrated with it, but I would love to just do more of that type of thing and you do something more, again, tangible with my hands rather than on my computer. So that is one of the goals for hobbies. Okay, the next thing is always having my film camera with me, or like some type of camera always on me other than my phone. I've been pretty good at this. I got a new purse and it actually fits my camera. So just having that little camera with me has been really fun, because I like to take just, little in between moments or like photos of when I'm hanging out with people. Similar, but not quite the same. So I'm a photographer, and so I have a obviously professional camera. And so I felt very inspired because one of my friends is really good about like bringing her professional camera out to take photos of her daughter. And sometimes she'll take photos when like we're together as well. And so she really inspired me because I'm like, okay, the photos look so nice when they're taken on the professional camera. I need to do this more. So my goal is to be more intentional about bringing my professional camera out, just having it available for me to like take little in between moments, like when we're at our house, and then also bringing it along, like, for example, when I hang out with her and her daughter, and being able to just take photos of the kids or like all of us. When you are a professional photographer, I feel like you can think of things very much as like, oh, that's like a work thing. I like take photos of other people that I don't know. And I want to get back into taking photos of people that I do know and taking and capturing my life like with my professional camera, because why have all of the nice gear if you don't use it? So just trying to be more intentional about that. Last one in the hobbies category, or like fun category, is doing date nights. And so we have restructured how we do date nights because of the girl on TikTok. I think her handle is Rosie Piper. And so they do this date night concept that they've talked about on TikTok, and we just started doing it last month, and it's been so fun. I feel like it's given me just like a fresh appreciation for doing date nights and some like more inspiration other than just like, dinner and a movie, which we love. I love the movies, but I just feel like with the season that we're at in parenthood, it's really nice for us to do something that's like a little bit more activity based, that's like just the two of us. So sorry, what the concept is, I realize I haven't talked about it yet. 2 date nights a month. So one of them is outside the house, one of them is inside the house, and then you take turns who's planning which one. So the first one we went to a pottery studio and we did mug painting, and then we went out for dinner on patio at sunset. It was kind of like our end of summer little soiree. And then the second one, we stayed in, ordered takeout, and watched a movie. And I'm just looking forward to doing more fun, creative things. Especially, I feel like this is going to be a good thing for me to look forward to through the winter. So definitely recommend if you're dating or married. It's a very fun concept. So those were more of the like personal development, wellness, routines, all that type of thing. Now we're going to talk more about just like fun activities to do in the fall, things I'm looking forward to, movies to watch, all of these types of things. Your little corner for some fall inspiration for a little cozy girl fall. So obviously we need to visit a pumpkin patch. If you don't have that on the calendar yet, put it on the calendar. Get some friends, get your boyfriend, round up people and go to the pumpkin patch. Make it into a like event in the sense of like, put a cute outfit on, go to get a cute drink if there's not drinks at your pumpkin patch, bring your camera, take cute photos. Make it like very much into a thing rather than it just being like, oh yeah, we're just going to go to a pumpkin patch, like look around for 5 minutes and leave. It needs to be an event, and the only way that it's going to be is if you like romanticize it. We went to the cutest pumpkin patch on, I guess it was yesterday, and it just brought me so much joy. We spent like a good hour there. There was like some animals. We took photos. We picked out some pumpkins for our porch. It was just very wholesome and so much fun. I made Levi take some photos of me and Theodore, and just so cute. So definitely recommend. Obviously, that's a very basic thing to do, but like there's a reason that it's basic and everyone does it. It's because it's fun. Next on the list is having an outdoor bonfire. In Canada, I feel like we used to have fires often outside, like kind of all year round. But because now we have so many wildfires, we can really only have them, like you can't have them in the summer anymore. So I haven't really gotten used to that, but I really need to shift into more of the like outdoor fall bonfire vibe, because I feel like it's perfect to be like, it's a little bit chilly out, you have a blanket on, you're in front of a fire. So definitely we need to plan. We haven't done that one yet, so we need to plan a date for that. Another thing that's essential in the fall is in the evenings, making sure that you're like, I feel like I don't know what a good term for this is, like closing down the house or like cozying down the house. So, you know, after you make dinner and you clean up dinner, like no overhead lights on, only lamps. My sister-in-law does a really good job of, she'll like light all the candles in her house in the evening, and it's just always so cozy. She'll like light candles and have tea. And so I'm trying to get into that. Like I just got a new wall like sconce. It's like a candle holder, but it goes on your wall. So I just got one of those and put 2 candlesticks up on it, and it is so cozy in the evening. So just in the evenings, making sure that you're like lighting candles, embracing the fact that it's, you know, getting darker out, and being okay with those cozy vibes. Using the crock pot and stove more. When I wrote this down, I realized that like I am no longer a teenager, because if my teenage self saw me writing that down, they'd be like, you are so old. And yeah, the fact that this is one of my goals and a fall bucket list item is like cooking and baking and like being excited about a crock pot. That just tells me with where I'm at in my life, but I truly am excited about it. I made a really good new like sweet potato beef stew the other day, and it was the most wonderful thing. Just at like 10 a.m. putting everything in for dinner, letting it rest for the day, not having to do any like chopping or anything like that in the evening. My kitchen was so much cleaner at the end of the day, and we got to enjoy a beautiful like warm cozy meal. So definitely will be doing that more throughout the season. The next thing on my bucket list, which is a little bit ambitious, is to start making homemade bread. I feel like, so I have currently a bread maker, which I do not use near enough. I will only really use it to make like cinnamon bun dough, and I really need to like embrace the fact that I have a bread maker a little bit more. So I don't know if I want to lean more into that and just make like fresh loaves with that, or if I want to get into sourdough. I did try the sourdough train out, like, I don't even remember when, but my sourdough died like probably within 5 days because I forgot about it. I do think that I could be better now. I would make sure to like set myself timers and be a little bit more diligent about it. But I haven't decided which venture I want to go down, but I do want to either try using my bread maker more or get more into sourdough. But I'm saving that for November because we're going on a trip at the end of October, which is my next bucket list item, which obviously this isn't for everyone, but we are going on a fall road trip. I'm so excited. We did not take any time off in the summer because being a wedding photographer, every single weekend was busy. So we could really only take like 4 days in between the weekends, and I just didn't want to try to do that. So we are taking a family road trip. We are going down the Oregon coast and also to Portland. So if you have any recommendations, please let me know. I'm very excited about it, and just I'm excited to go to the States. I haven't gone to the States in a minute, so I'm excited to go shopping, go to Trader Joe's, go to Goodwill, like, you know, hit all of the good stops. But I'm also excited to like see the fall leaves, to be along the ocean. Hopefully it's like a little bit moody. We're going to take some family photos. I'm very excited for that. Okay, some more like random trends that I'll just kind of like go through quickly. I want to try out doing darker nails, maybe like the kind of like dark brown, reddy kind of nails. I want to get into doing that. Whether I just go and get like my nails done once is probably the better option, because I feel like if I try to do it myself, it's probably not going to look good. So maybe I'll do that once. Having slippers. If you do not have slippers for your house, you need to get some. It makes the experience of being home so much more cozy. I also just love that this time of year I can wear like so many different slip-on shoes. I have an amazing pair of like the UGG Tasman dupes from Costco. I've been loving them lately. Like going to the gym in those just makes me feel so cozy. Like I'm literally walking on a little cloud as I'm walking to the gym. And it just honestly makes my early morning cold so much cozier. Again, also like having mules, like the Bostons, the Birkenstock Bostons. I have the dupes also. So nice to just be able to slip them on and go. I'm really thinking of getting like a big leather tote. I've been seeing that. I feel like they keep coming up like on my Pinterest. People keep sharing them on Instagram. I don't know if it's everyone keeps seeing like big leather totes or it's just me, but I feel like that needs to be my next bag purchase. And I've been thinking about like switching up the bag that I'm using to like more of a leather style tote. Reading has been the best thing for me throughout the summer, getting more into reading. But then as fall has come, it truly feels so cozy and romantic in the evenings, lighting a candle, being in bed or being on the couch and reading a book. I have gone through the whole like ACOTAR series. I'm on Fourth Wing right now. I feel like I'm just going through all of the basically like major book trends from the last like 2 years. I'm just a little bit late on them, but I feel like I'm back in high school again when I like first read like, or like middle school. I don't remember when I read like Hunger Games, Divergent, like, and I just couldn't stop reading. That is how I feel right now. And I feel like I just wish that for everyone, that you can just get into the reading spirit this fall, because it is so fun and it is such a nice distraction, other like in a different way than social media is. It just feels so good. Unexpectedly, I am getting very back into London fogs and tea again. I'm been a big coffee girl for the last like 2 years, but lately since the seasons have changed, since the fall started, the leaves started falling, I have been craving London fogs and enjoying having tea again in the evening, which has been a shocker for me. Another thing for this season is there's nothing more that I love from like now until the end of December is browsing at the mall. I believe that the mall is designed for moms, because there is nothing better than like going to the mall, setting my stroller up, being able to walk through so many different stores, getting to stop for a coffee, getting to go look at books, getting to go to a store that my son can play with toys, getting a little pretzel. Like, it is just so satisfying. I can get my steps in. It's, if it's cold outside, doesn't matter because it's warm. If it's summer outside, it's air conditioned. It just like, it's the perfect place for a mom. I just wish that it opened at like 7 so I could do that at 7 a.m. instead of having to wait until it opens, but it's fine. But I just think that this time of year is just the best for browsing at the mall or like HomeSense, because it's just so cozy and it just makes me think of Christmas. And there's so much to look at. It's like, I just think that in-person shopping is so much more fun than online shopping, because you get to like interact with things in person. So, okay, lastly, this is the last thing I'll talk about, is just kind of like a rapid fire of some ideas of like TV, movies, and as well as some Spotify recommendations. So first of all, for movies, Harry Potter, of course, Fantastic Mr. Fox, Knives Out, The Blind Side, Dan in Real Life, Frozen 2, Frozen 1 is a Christmas movie, Frozen 2, Thanksgiving fall movie, Age of Adeline, Gossip Girl, Only Murders in the Building, especially season 1 and 2, This Is Us, Firefly Lane, Series of Unfortunate Events, Presumed Innocent, that's the new one for us, so good. If you are into hockey, the Face Off series on Prime Video, all about like the NHL, it's so good. We're loving it so far. And then Spotify. So for me, the season of fall is when I get back into my musical score era. So for scores, I like to listen to the Dune soundtrack and Star Wars soundtrack. I'll listen to those like when I'm studying. I don't study. When I'm working. And I feel like it's so like, it's just like nice background music, and I love Hans Zimmer. Anyways, but then for musicals, if you are not into musicals, you can just ignore this, but these are the musicals that I love to listen to. I don't know why in the fall and winter it just reminds me so much of these musicals. It might just be me, but if you are into musicals, Wicked is coming out this November, so start listening to that soundtrack. It is so good. So Wicked, Hamilton, The Greatest Showman, Les Miserables, Into the Woods, West Side Story, and Encanto, the Disney movie. the best. These just become my like obsession over the winter. I listen to them at the gym. I'm either listening to like hip hop music or that. For Spotify, we'll also plug some of my fall playlists because I do think that they are pretty good. I will link them below. I have like an ultimate fall playlist that has like 10 hours of music. I have one that's like Taylor Swift focused. I have like a Taylor Swift Noah Kahan one. I have quite a few, so I will link them below. You can give them a listen. I just started bringing those back out for the season, and I will say that I do think they are pretty good. So thank you so much for tuning in to today's episode. I feel like I just wanted to kind of blend, some of the productivity stuff with a little bit more lifestyle and fun stuff. Please let me know if I missed anything in terms of like fall bucket list vibes, whether that is like an activity that you should do, a movie that I should be watching, anything like that. Let me know, because you know that I'm trying to channel all the fall vibes as much as possible. Thanks again for tuning in for another episode. I hope that you have a great week. We are currently doing new episodes every Monday, so make sure to follow along on my Instagram, which is VictoriaHarderXO, or our podcast Instagram, which is Hot Mess Habits. I hope that you have a wonderful week, and we'll chat again next week. Bye.